Hey Truth Seekers, it's Nathaniel with another deck profile. Today I'm going to be covering Levi, Hope, Faith, and Holy Spirit. Start off with, Levi has the ability that says you may place up to 2 power cards from your hand into your power pool per turn. So Levi, the idea is basically you kind of draw a whole lot of cards so that way you can have a plethora of cards in hand. So that increases your RNG to have more power cards. That way you'll be able to actually use Levi's effect. Move Levi over here. Move our tokens over here. And now, move on to power cards. I have 2 Hope Power. I have 2 Faith Power. And I have 1 Holy Spirit Power. These are the 5 power cards I would like to have in my power pool. However, I do have the option of using Prayer, so that way I can substitute my Hope or my Faith with these Prayer cards. Or I can use 1 Fasting. I do have an Animo that will benefit from this in this deck, but it's only 1, so most likely I'm going to be using this Holy Spirit power card because it's easier to grab. Alright, and move the power cards out of the way, and move on to equipment. I have 6 equipment cards in this deck. I have 2 of the Helmet of Salvation. Helmet of Salvation has the ability that says it cannot be attached to an Ultra Animo, but when the Animo to whom this card is attached is discarded, discard this card and return it to your hand. Return the Animo to your hand instead. Which we have a really cool combo we would like to use with the Helmet of Salvation. We have 2 Paul's Chains. Paul's Chain says the Animo to whom this card is attached may not be activated, but may be discarded anytime during your setup phase. Once per turn, as long as this card is attached to an Animo in your small group, you may search your deck for up to 2 level 1 Animo and place them in your small group. If there's no room in your small group, this card has no use. Then we have 1 Scarlet Cord. Scarlet Cord says the Animo to whom this card is attached may either be returned to the hand or discarded from your small group at any time during your setup phase. If you choose to discard it, you may search your deck for any Animo with an equal to or lesser VP and place it in your hand. This card must be discarded once this action is used. Set those over there. Next up, I have a total of 4 story cards. And I have 1 Giant Killer, 1 Pawsmaws, and 2 Peter's Vision. Giant Killer says, search your deck for a Mega Cine, reveal it to an opponent. This can only be done if the opponent is already not facing a Cine. Or you can, well, if you're facing a Mega Cine, return it to the owner and have them shuffle it back into their deck. Pawsmaw says, place this card in your active spot or next to it if it's currently occupied by another card. No opponent may reveal a Cine to you on their next turn. At the beginning of your next turn, remove this card, as well as all copies of Pawsmaws from your hand, deck, or discard pile from the game. Peter's Vision is really cool. Peter's Vision lets us search for a deck for a level 1 Animo and exchange it with a level 1 Animo in all attached equipment from your small group. Shuffle your deck afterwards. Set that up there. Next up is the Cines for this deck. I chose to use a bunch of Cines that interact with power cards. So, get these guys out here. Alright, we'll go over them one at a time. This is Fearcrow from Fearless. It says, action, your opponent may not play any love Animo or love power cards from their hand on their next turn. Sparkcube, or sorry, not Sparkcube, Scorch says, action, your opponent may not use any Hope power from their power pool or Truth Seeker on their next turn, including Hope from Prayer. Thief of the Night, select 1 special power card from your opponent's power pool. They must shuffle it back into their deck. Refrigerator has an action that says your opponent may not use any love powers or from their power pool or their Truth Seeker on their next turn, including Love from Prayer. And Tollcrow. Tollcrow says as long as this card is active, your opponent may not use any special power cards from their power pool to activate Animo. Alright, and then Mega Cines. Got Walrus Mega and Globster Mega, who are 16 defense Cines, and Tollcrow Mega Plus, who's a 21 defense Cine. Next up, I have a few Love Animo, but they are the standard Love Animo I like to run in every deck. And with Prayer in this deck, I could activate them if I choose to. However, normally they're just targets for like Paul's Chains. So Servitude says once per turn, you may draw 1 card for each Faith, Hope, or Holy Spirit Animo in your small group. Potpourri says ability, as long as this card's in your small group, ignore the effects from the actions of any Cines revealed to you. And Flow Ultra. Full Ultra has the swap ability. It says you may discard this card from your small group. If you do, search your deck for any 3 Animo, reveal them, and place them in your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. Moving on to our Holy Spirit Animo, we have 2 Gut Piece level 1. Gut Piece level 1 is very handy. Has the ability, says when you play this card from your hand into your small group, search your deck for any 1 Faith or Hope Animo. I like using this with Scarlet Cord because I can use it to return Gut Piece in my hand, play him, and search for another Faith or Hope Animo. Or I'll use Peter's Vision after playing him to shuffle him back into my deck to exchange for a level 1 that I want after searching for the level 2 that I want. Because we have Gut Piece level 1, we're going to grow into the Red Letter Day Gut Piece level 2. It has the ability, says when this card is played from your hand to grow Gut Piece level 1, you may reshuffle your hand into your deck and draw 6 cards. This is very helpful because what it enables me to do is power up Socro. So I've already played out my hand, except for my Gut Piece level 2, grow my Gut Piece level 2. I don't have a hand, so I shuffle nothing into my deck. Then I draw 6 cards. And then my Socro level 2 is going to be worth at least 12 points because I have 6 cards in my hand. Next up, we have Hybrid. Hybrid level 1 grows into Hybrid level 2. Hybrid level 2 has the ability, says when it's played from my hand to grow Hybrid level 1, I can search my deck for 1 standard power card and place it into my power pool. And then I'm going to grow him, and so this way I can get my Faith or my Hope. Next, I have 2 Hybrid level 2s. So it has the action that says search your deck for up to 2 Virtuous Animos that are either level 2 or level 3. So this in combination, I have a lot of level 2s in this deck. So what I'll do with this hybrid is once I have 6 cards in hand, I'll activate him, and then I'll search my deck for 2 cards and add them to my hand, meaning I'll have a total of 8. So my Socro level 2 will be worth a total of 16 points. Also, the hybrid line lets me just grab any power card, so it's very handy. Next up, I have my Faith Animo. I have 2 Hoofit. Hoofit says if this card's in your hand, you may choose to discard it. If you do, you may shuffle any 3 cards from your discard pile back in your deck, excluding this card. It's pretty good, very helpful. Next up is we have Trusty. This is Trusty from Red Letter Day. He is a 2 for 5, but he costs 1 universal, which makes him a little bit more versatile. And I'm going to grow him into Trusty level 2 from Fearless. This Trusty has the ability, says you may choose to discard this card from your small group, including the previous growth stage and any cards attached. If you do, draw 4 cards. So the idea behind this Trusty is that you would discard him and you would draw 4 cards. However, this card right here, if you equip it to him, you should be able to go ahead and discard him, and that would trigger Helmet of Salvation. So that way, you would add this Trusty to your hand. However, based off this works, as including any cards attached, I'm not certain 100%, but I think that also includes the Helmet of Salvation, so you wouldn't be able to use it. But it just depends on the timing, because his effect would trigger this, but his effect finishing out might cancel out this. So that all depends. I have seen Scud do this combo to draw a bunch of extra cards. So that's the reason why we have Helmet of Salvation. Because if the idea is to power up Socro, play Trusty, attach Helmet of Salvation, discard Trusty, draw 4, and then Helmet of Salvation, return Trusty to hand, play Trusty again, discard him again to draw 4 more cards. That gets us to 8 where we need to be for our Socro. Then I have 1 Hoofit Ultra to help me search my deck for up to 2 Faith power cards and add them to my power pool. And then I could also activate him for 2 because he's a 2 for 13, but I have to discard those Faith power cards. And I'd rather not be discarding because I can still activate this Trusty for its 12 Fellowship bonus and only have to discard 1. And that's only 1 point less than this, but it combos with the Holy Spirit power or Fellowship bonus. Moving on to our Hope Animo, we have 2 Hightail. Hightail has the Retreat ability. It says this card's in your hand, you may choose to reveal it to your opponent and shuffle it back into your deck. If you do, draw 3 cards. Then we have Schwimmer. 3 Schwimmer, level 1, has the action. It says search your deck for up to 1 standard power card and place it directly in your power pool. After that, you shuffle your deck. That way we can accelerate our power, which Levi is already doing. Next up, I have 3 Socro level 1s from Red Letter Day. When he's played from my hand, I get a draw card, which helps me build up my hand. But I'm going to grow him into Socro level 2 from Fearless, who has the Harvest action. It says, at the time this card is activated, it is worth 2 VP for each card in your hand, up to a max of 16. And then finally, I have Socro Ultra. Socro Ultra is a 3 for 12. He's the one that benefits from having that fasting. He's the only one that benefits from having the fasting. And he's just a big Animo. That's the reason why he's in here. And with that, that has been our Levi, Hope, Faith, and Holy Spirit deck profile. In the meantime, Truth Seekers, keep learning virtues and defeating cities.